We're about to go live.
Okay.
And we're live. Welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday on the Educate to Flourish Twitter channel. And with me today, I have the wonderful Kate McAllister. Hello, Kate. I'll introduce you properly in a moment. Before we get started properly, I just wanted to do what we did last week and have a go at an emotional temperature thing. So we'll see how people watching us are feeling. And Kate and I have already done this, and I think we've got 1 or 2 viewers at the moment already. So we can always come back to this if there's more people. But I'm going to share with you now how to join us with the emotional temperature. So you should see right now how to join. So you can type in pollev.com into your browser, either on your phone or on your computer, wherever you are at the moment. And then you just put in the code, which is Fredericka Rob 992. Fredericka Rob 992. And that then takes you to a screen where you can enter either emojis or words. So if you put more than one word, it splits them up as it displays them. So you can put in as many as you want. You can put one in and then enter and then the next. You can put emojis in and we'll see what comes up. So I can see mine and Kate's on there already. So I'll quickly share that screen and we'll see if more pop up. Right. So we're back with you now. I need to get slicker at this bit, really. Right, where are we? This bit, share that, and we can see the results. So you can see here, Kate, so you're feeling bright and light and nervous. Don't be nervous. Our audience are lovely. It's definitely bright and light where you are. It's lovely. And we'll talk a bit more about where you are in a moment. It's definitely not one of those green screens. It's definitely where you actually are, which is beautiful. And I'm feeling very grateful that you're here, Kate, to help me out today, and very excited about our Wellbeing Wednesday. So I'll come back to this and see if we get more responses as we go on. But for now, I'm going to take you back to the presentation so that I can just do a very quick introduction. So this is me, for those of you joining us for the first time on Wellbeing Wednesday. I'm Fredericka Roberts. I'm the founder of Educate to Flourish, CIC. It's a community interest company. I'm also known as the happiness speaker. My expertise is positive psychology. That's where the letters MAP come after my name, Master of Applied Positive Psychology. And I'm really passionate about bringing positive psychology, the science of well-being, into education. So positive education, looking after the whole child when we educate children, bringing together both the academic and the well-being, so that we're really creating an environment where children and adults in education can flourish. I've got a couple of books out already. Recipe for Happiness. I'm pointing there because that's where my screen is, but of course for you it's in front of you. So I've got a Recipe for Happiness. That was my first book, and I've co-written a Character Toolkit for Teachers. And in August this year, a bit later than planned because of delays due to coronavirus, we've got For Flourishing's Sake coming out, but it is available for pre-order at the moment, which is all about putting positive education into the whole school. So that is me, but I'm really keen to introduce you to our guest today, and that's Kate McAllister. So Kate, you are a teacher, trainer, speaker, writer, thinker, and wellness nerd, and also the co-founder of Rethinking Education, which I love as a term, because that's really what I kind of am about as well, and looking at education differently. So Kate, tell us about you first of all, and where you are as well.
Well, I'm currently coming to you from Dominican Republic. I came out here in February to do some research into world schooling, alternative models for education, with my daughter who's 7, and we walked straight into COVID, and we've been locked down here ever since. So I am now doing schooling from home, the same as lots of parents, trying to work from home, the same as lots of parents, in a strange place with very little stuff. I came with one suitcase thinking I'd be able to buy everything that I needed when I was here. So my working from home desk is two tables piled on top of one another, a couple of saucepans, and my mobile phone lent up against them. So
wow,
it's very professional. It's a very professional setup. But yes, I'm doing my best to muddle through. And Rethinking Education is an organisation I formed with my good friend and colleague, Dr. James Mannion, because we have been looking at how to support children with their learning from looking at all of the things that underpin effective learning. What are the tools and strategies and techniques that you need to use in order to learn effectively? And also what's happening on a neurobiological level that makes that happen. So we talk a lot about self-regulation of the nervous system, understanding what drives our behaviors. And then we start thinking about the behaviors that we want to choose. And then we think about what we want to apply those behaviors to. So it's a very well-rounded way of looking at learning that gives much more of the control and the decision-making to the learner themselves, rather than them always relying on the teacher to tell them what they have to learn, how they're going to divide it up, and whether or not they've done it properly.
Yeah, that's brilliant. That's really, really good. And so much work going into that really needs to be shared and that people need to learn about. And of course, particularly in the situation we're in, I suppose what you do through Rethinking Education is really important, because it's so much about how we're now learning very differently and looking at education very differently, and those processes that are going on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. James and I are putting together a video series for parents who suddenly find themselves much more interested in self-directed learning perhaps than they were before, or maybe wanting to learn more about it to become a little bit more adept at it, or supporting their children to become more adept at it. And definitely looking at how learning works from a different perspective is something that we're all having to do now.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so in the current situation then, you had some really interesting things to say that I shared in the For Flourishing's Sake podcast earlier this week on Monday, and that was from when we had the virtual Wellbeing panel, and I was really interested in what you were saying there about routines and stuff. And so I'd be really interested in hearing more about some of the stuff that you do and that you know that works, and how it works in terms of helping us when our routines are all over the place, which they are, of course, for all of us, children, teachers, parents, no matter what you're doing, our routines are all over the place.
Absolutely. So human beings run with an autonomic nervous system under the surface, and it does an awful lot of processes for us. Monitors our breathing in and out, our digestion, our immune system, all of this stuff. And it goes up and down all day long, depending on what we need to achieve. If we want to run up the stairs, it speeds up. If we need to fall asleep and digest our food, it slows down, and it's all happening automatically. Now, what happens when a threat or a challenge comes into our environment on the periphery is that system gets hijacked, if you like, by our defensive mode. And it pushes us more towards fight or flight behaviors, or freeze or faint behaviors, which means that a lot of our bandwidth, if you like, gets taken away from what we want to be doing, what we want to be concentrating on. And so it doesn't always manifest in the extreme version, some people erupting into rage or passing out with fear. It's much more subtle than that. So what you can find is that if you're pushed into your fight response, that you are more irritable than usual. You get frustrated more quickly, you're short-tempered, you might find that you're using stronger language than usual.
I can attest to that myself. Yeah, definitely.
I'm kind of going, why did I say that? Oops, that was the word I wanted. And flight can manifest in wanting to be busy all of the time. There's always something you need to do. I hear that there were record numbers of people the first weekend of lockdown who decided to climb Snowdon. They just decided that there was something that they needed to do somewhere else. So that's a really typical flight response, that we need to be in another room doing something different, and we can't concentrate. We can't look at people in the eye for long times. We're very jittery.
Yeah.
And freeze.
I must say, it's quite handy. It's quite handy for us at the moment. My husband's been doing so much DIY. It's amazing. Things that I've been asking him to do for 10 years have been getting done in the last few weeks.
And that's the key to all of this, really, is noticing it first and then deciding whether it's helpful or not. And so if it's helpful, that sort of energetic response that you have, how do you harness it and use it for good? if you wake up and you are restless and you've got all of this energy, but you don't have a garage to empty or a cupboard to clean out or something physical you can do with all of that energy, you want to try and disperse it so that you can get your concentration levels back.
Yeah.
So it's all about recognizing which state you are in, whether you're moving towards fight or flight or freeze or faint. And those are the sort of low energy ones where you can't make a decision or you don't have any energy. And how do you move yourself back into that sort of central zone where you feel able to cope with things and look people in the eye and everything feels much more manageable? And so we can do this with little exercises. We can do this with putting anchors down in our day, little routines that we do that bring us back to feeling calm and safe and being able to choose our thoughts and our words however we want to.
Wonderful. So could you give some examples of some of these anchors that we can use?
Yeah, so starting your day with something like a check-in, like exactly like the one that you just asked us to do at the beginning of this. Just one of the first things you do in the morning while the kettle's boiling, or whatever it is you do first thing, brushing your teeth, whatever it is, but you anchor it into that behavior. Okay, so whatever you do routinely in the morning, you add an anchor to that says, I'm just going to notice how I'm feeling. So what does my mind feel like? What does my body feel like? What does my breath feel like? And from there, you know where your starting point is. So that's one of the first anchors, is just to notice and check in. And throughout the day, you can add in things that are a countermeasure to how you've woken up feeling. So if you've woken up feeling very, very restless, you can anchor in calming things to do, like whatever it is that makes you feel calm. Everybody feels calm doing something different. Some people get calmness by doing something energetic. Some people feel calm by doing something really sedentary. So whatever it is for you, whether it's doing an exercise video or sitting down with a book, and you punctuate your day with these activities that bring you back into that calming space. So for me in the morning, I have my little routine where I do my diary. I take those 3 words and I write them in a list. And then I just free write for half a page about whatever comes to mind. Sometimes it's connected to those words. Sometimes it's connected to what I was doing yesterday. It's just half an hour to get all of my thoughts out of my head so that I start the day with an emptier mind.
Brilliant.
And I might want to do yoga or something to move my body or to think about how I'm breathing before I start my day.
Fantastic.
And at the end of the day, I do something similar. So I top and tail my day with two very safe, recognizable moments. So I kind of make a sandwich on my day of safety, where I know that I'm
Sandwich
going
of
to
safety. I like that.
and feel like I can do this. I can get through today. Whatever today holds, I can get through it. And when I get to the end of the day, it's like, whew, I did today. Now I get to give something back to myself. And then throughout the day, as those kind of get anchored in, as they become a habit, you can begin to notice which other points of your day do you feel like you might need an extra one. Is there a good time of the day to have a cup of tea in your favorite cup? Is there a good time of the day? People can be anchors as well. To give somebody a text message or a telephone call. Activities can be anchors. Whatever it is that brings you back down to that space where you're like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. I can choose how I want to present myself to the rest of the world. And I can choose how I talk to myself internally. That's what you're aiming for.
That's fantastic. And before we went live today, I was telling you, we've got really lovely weather here in the UK today, and for me, I'm a real sun seeker. And so when I got up this morning, because we've had beautiful weather, but it's been quite chilly the last few days, and yesterday I was having a bit of an off kind of day, which I'm sure all of us have at any time, but particularly at the moment. And so this morning I kind of started feeling a bit again. And then I noticed the weather. And so I thought, right, what can I do? So the first thing I did is I took my breakfast outside and I sat in the garden, and I just sat. First of all, I sat and listened to the bird song because it's so beautiful. I love that in spring. And then I'm listening to audiobooks at the moment because I don't really have time to read properly. So I've started getting into audiobooks, which I can listen to when I walk, etc. And I used to, when I was still driving places, I used to listen to them in the car. And so just sat and had my breakfast and had a bit longer than usual, just sitting outside, listening to my audiobook, just to take myself away a little bit. And that was a really good, because I got some sunshine, a bit of fresh air, and then I felt quite energized and I got quite productive when I got back in. And then I decided at that point that I'd go back outside at lunchtime and properly take in some sun. And I felt like I was on holiday. I just went in my bikini and I lay and I spent about 45 minutes to an hour. I had my lunch first, and then I just had a proper time on the sun lounger, first chatting to my daughter, then my husband, and then just listening to my audiobook again. And it felt like I was just somewhere else. And for that moment, coronavirus didn't exist. Nothing existed. I was just out there enjoying what I love, which is the sun on my skin, and thinking vitamin D, take it in. This is great. It's not just vanity. And then I came back and I was so productive in the lead up to this call compared to how I was yesterday. It was a complete transformation. So it's really effective, isn't it, to do that kind of thing? And it's whatever really works for you.
Yes, and it's about noticing what works for you. So you can pick up ideas, go online, self-regulation techniques. Everybody's got an idea of what the best one is. Okay, so the best thing to do is to try them out for a few days, and you will know if they work for you. You will feel the difference. Your shoulders will relax, your jaw will relax, or you'll suddenly feel like you've got the get up and go has come back. It's all come back in. You can suddenly go, oh, I feel like myself again. You notice it, you can feel it. It's a really embodied experience.
It is. It's a really, you can notice it. Yeah.
There's lots of things that you could try and do. The chances are you already know what works for you and you're already doing them. And so the extra thing you can add is to do them mindfully, to really think about, okay, I really want a cup of tea. Why do I want a cup of tea? And how will I feel when I've had it? And just giving yourself that extra piece of time. And it sometimes feels like you wake up in the morning and you've got too many things on your list to do and you feel restless and you just start and you're ineffective and you're being ineffective, but you've got so much on your list you can't stop. And actually that's the moment when you do need to stop and you think, what's one of the things that I can do that's going to bring me back to where I need to be to start this again? And give yourself that 5 minutes, because you will win that back fivefold if you give yourself that 5 minutes. So yesterday, both of us woke up on the wrong side of bed, myself and my daughter. And we did our daily check-in. So I've done mine and I sat down with her and I said, how are you feeling? That's what I got in response. Okay, do you think you can choose some words that go with that? And she gave me some words. She felt angry and she felt frustrated and she felt busy. And so she gave me a whole long list of words. I went, okay, well, today's going to go badly if we don't deal with this, right? Because I've got a lot of things I need to do and I know where this mood is going to take us. So I said, what can we do? What can we do to move some of that energy from inside you to outside of you? What are we going to do? And she wanted to play her favorite game, which is like a pillow fight type game. I was like, okay, I don't really know if I've got time for this, but I have got time for this. I'm going to make time for this. Yeah. So we had a rough and tumble, right? And we laughed. And I really laughed, and that got rid of some of my tension. She really laughed, and that got rid of all of her tension. And then she was able to just wander off and noodle with Lego or do whatever she was going to do and let me sit and really focus on the work that I wanted to do. So just giving ourselves that 5 minutes, which felt like a luxury. It felt like I didn't have 5 minutes for that conversation at that moment. But because we gave it to ourselves and we had the conversation and we had a silly play fight, we got the rest of our day back.
That's fantastic. And that's a really good example, because I'm sure that's something that a lot of parents out there can relate to at the moment. Because, of course, the children are in a very different kind of space at the moment. Their routines aren't what they used to be. And so they're more likely to have days when they wake up like that and they're just not in the right headspace, and they need to get that out. So that's a really important thing to kind of think, you know, well, if we can just spend 5 minutes getting ourselves back to where we need to be, that can be such a powerful way to get that day back. And for those who are parents and teachers as well, and, you know, like so many out there, that's even more important, because you're trying to do your job, whether that's as a teacher or, you know, the many parents who are working from home. You're thinking, well, I haven't got time because I've got to work, I've got to home educate, I've got to do all of this and still do the housework and it can get so overwhelming.
And we are, whether we have noticed it or not, whether we think we're managing it or not, we are globally experiencing a stress response.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's lives have changed overnight. So all of our nervous systems are vigilant. They are scanning our environment all the time for this invisible threat that we can't see, this coronavirus. Right? And so it's not conscious, but it's happening all of the time. So we are jumpier than usual. We are just, everything is slightly more than usual. Okay, we have slightly fewer resources available to us for what we want to choose to do with them, and we're just more sensitive to everything that's going on. And so our children are they've got that going on for them, and they're also sensitive to our sensitivity. So it's really important to tune in. It doesn't mean that you can change any of the things that are happening around you, but if you tune in to how they're impacting you, to how they're affecting you, you've got more of a chance of kind of just tweaking a lever here or there, taking a deep breath, doing some extra anchoring behaviors,
yeah,
to keep you feeling slightly more just buoyant and safe than you would be without them.
That's fantastic. That's really useful. Thank you so much, Kate. Now I'm going to come to the bit where we're going to look at a couple of resources that I'd like to share with the audience. What I would also like to say, of course, to people watching us live, if you have any questions for me or for Kate at this point, we've got about 9 or 10 minutes to go. So if you've got any questions, on the right-hand side of your screen as you're watching on YouTube, you can type into the text box, and that's what I keep doing, monitoring over there, because it's on my other screen. So you can type in your questions, or even just a hello or whatever, if you want to say hello to us, and we can respond to that. But in the meantime, I'm just going to share with you a couple of the resources that hopefully, just bear with me while I get the right screen up. Right, so every week, and if anybody watching has any resources they want to share, of course, even after we've gone live, just message me. I'll share my contact details at the end of this as well. I'm always on the lookout for great resources that we can share with people on the Wellbeing Wednesday. So I'm now going to share with you a couple of resources. So the first one that I'd like to share, this is brand new. I think it's gone live today, and this is the brainchild of a friend or acquaintance of mine, lovely German lady who lives in Berlin called Elke Paul. I met her through LinkedIn because I asked to interview her for my book, and then we actually had the opportunity of meeting at the International Positive Psychology Association World Congress in Melbourne last year, and we've kept in touch ever since. And I spoke to her just a few days ago when she was still developing this. And she said, you know, I just wanted to do something, and I wanted to help people. And it breaks my heart when I think about all the people that are on the front line and that are suffering at the moment, and they just need help, emotional help, as well as all the practical help with PPE and all of that kind of stuff. And so she's created this website, and it's very, very simple. But basically, anybody working on the front line that's struggling, whether it's financial, parenting, relationship, you know, worrying about getting ill, all of that stuff, they can go onto this website, which is coronafrontliners.com, and register to get help. And anybody that wants to give their help, can basically register. So therapists, psychotherapists, social workers, etc., can go onto this website and register, and they'll put the two together and just get people to receive help for free, which I just think is fantastic. So I'm so delighted that it's just gone live. And the other thing that I wanted to share, and I will put these links, by the way, after we've gone live, I'll put them into the description of this video on YouTube, so they'll be there for people to refer back to. And the other link that I wanted to share is the Education Wellbeing Collective, which is a group of educators, wellbeing specialists, etc., that got together through Twitter. We had our first Zoom meeting last week, and we're meeting again tomorrow. And we wanted to do something to help. So the first thing that we've done is one member of the group who runs Nourish the Workplace, a lovely lady called Kimberly Evans, has offered to host this for the time being on her website. And we've basically just collated a load of resources under the heading of Education Wellbeing Collective. You can also look out for the hashtag, which is EdWellCol. And we've put resources on there. So again, if anybody has any resources that you want to share with this website, then get in touch with me and I can pass them on to Kimberly. It's growing. It's at some point it's probably going to have its own home, but it's brand new from last week. So do share your resources on there as well, and do have a look. So at the moment it's on the nourishtheworkplace.com website, and there's a tab there for Education Wellbeing Collective, and look out on Twitter for hashtag EdWellCol. So let me just stop sharing the screen for a moment so I can come back to you. So these are the resources that I wanted to share with you. Is there anything that you wanted to share at this point, Kate? Or if not, then I can always put anything that you might want to give me later into the links as well.
Now, we've got an online community called the Human Hive, which is where lots of people can get together and come up with ideas. It's a place to share inspirations around well-being and around taking action in the world to make it a more welcoming and inclusive place. So I'll give you the link to that. But it's just full of all different types of people, all different ages, from all different backgrounds, from all over the world, which is lovely. Wow. All united in feeling, you know, that feeling where you're like, I wish I could do more, but I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
This is the place to take it. And
fantastic.
The ideas then grow from there.
That's brilliant. Of course, you've been doing that for quite some time, but now it's even more relevant than ever. So that's fantastic.
We're suddenly getting lots of new members from all over the world who really, I guess, have finally found a little bit of space in their lives to do something with that feeling. So it's lovely. It's a nice and positive place to take your energy.
Fantastic. So yeah, send me the link and I'll pop that into the links on the bottom of this video description. And we've got a message as well from Selena Whitehead. Hello, Selena. Selena is one of the people running the wonderful, amazing People Schools website. And Selena's saying, would love to be a part of this in the Wellbeing Collective. How would we share what we've developed? I'll put you in touch, Selena, with the people running the Wellbeing Collective, and then we can share your resources. That'll be fantastic. And I know that Amazing People Schools have put some great resources out there for free at the moment, so I'd be happy to share that next week on here as well. Thank you so much for joining us. So we are pretty much at the end now, so I will just go back to sharing the screen so we can share our contact details. Right, so if you want to get in touch with me on Twitter, you can contact me at Fredericka_R. That's my personal Twitter account where I spend most of my time, far too much time probably, if truth be told. And also you can find me on the Educate to Flourish account. That's at EduFlourish. So that's Fredericka_R or EduFlourish. And if you want to email me any links to resources or anything, you can do that at fred@educatetoflourish.org.uk. And I've also got the Twitter details there for Kate. So if you want to follow Kate and contact her on Twitter, it's at rethinking_Kate. I'm sure you'll love to hear from everyone, Kate.
Absolutely. Be a pleasure.
Fantastic. Well, it's been so wonderful. Do you know, it's been great having you here, Kate, and not just been talking on my own. So I think I'm going to bring more guests on. It's lovely to actually have a chat live on air with another human being as well. So thank you so, so much for joining me today from Dominican Republic with the time difference and your challenges of setting up your workstation. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Nothing fell over today, so I'm
No.
relieved. That's what I was nervous about, that there would be a crash and I would disappear again.
Well, it's gone brilliantly. Nothing fell over, and we got to share a little bit of the beauty that you're sitting in out there. So if you've got to be trapped somewhere, I suppose that's not the worst place in the world, is it?
You know, I am feeling rather blessed. I do understand how fortunate I am.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you. And I'll look forward, obviously, to speaking to you again, Kate. I'm sure we'll see much more of you. And thank you to everybody who joined us live. Thank you to everybody who's going to watch this back later on. And I'll be back next week, same time, 4 p.m. UK time on Wellbeing Wednesday on the Educate to Flourish YouTube channel. Thank you very much. See you next week.